deny valid claims, because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA filing number 16-7969.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21 12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jordan Kitchens and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and we got a lot to talk about on this Monday. We got a lot to talk about on just about every Monday. This one more so than most. When the New Orleans Saints make a quarterback change mid-game, that would generally be 30 minutes of content on Monday. It's not going to be on this Monday. We will talk about it, and we'll talk to Denton Day about the national college football storylines, but certainly we're going to spend a lot of time on the past, present, and future of LSU football. So jump in with us, and we'll talk about it for the majority of the day today. Let's start it the way we do every day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Brian Kelly fired as the head football coach at LSU. He came here for one reason: to compete at the top of the SEC for college football playoff berths and a national championship. That's why Brian Kelly came to LSU. That goal was explicitly stated, and ultimately, this program pushed its chips in for this season. You had the defensive staff put in place that you were looking for. You had a returning nucleus with your offensive staff and quarterback and playmakers, and then you went to the transfer portal and dumped all the NIL money you had into this football team. And everyone from the inside out looked at this and said, this is the team that must make the playoffs. And you've got wiggle room. 10-2 will get you there. 11-1 likely gets you a spot in Atlanta, Georgia for the SEC championship game, and we know what a perfect 12-0 record looks like. This was the year. And ultimately, it was going to determine Brian Kelly's fate in Baton Rouge. And on Saturday night, you realized that this was going to be a failure. Things were not getting better. They were getting worse. And I said last week, when asked a question on What If Wednesday, what if you lose a couple more games? And I said, I'm less concerned about the football aspects of this because we know what those goals are, and more concerned about the finances of it. That's a decision I cannot speak to because it's not my money. I don't know exactly where all those dollars and cents would come from if they were called upon. And I don't know how willing those people would be to cut those checks. We found out quickly on Saturday night into Sunday morning, then into the afternoon hours of Sunday when Brian Kelly was let go. I told you last week that I had a fear about Saturday night. A fear that a better football team was going to impose its will on LSU, that a more motivated fan base was going to show up inside Tiger Stadium, and that an apathetic, angry fan base in the home colors was going to turn and leave. And it was like a premonition, essentially, because what I witnessed inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday night was all time. I haven't been going to games in that stadium as long as some of you listening to this. I'm 37 years old. I was in Tiger Stadium when LSU lost to UAB. That was stunning and awful. I was in Tiger Stadium when the 2001 Florida team went absolutely nuts in there. Just as badly as I've seen an LSU team beaten. I was in Tiger Stadium when TJ Yeldon in 2012 broke everyone's hearts with that screen pass in that revenge spot. It was heartbreaking. I was there when Troy beat LSU. Saturday night, to me, was the most embarrassing I've ever seen for that football program in that stadium. I do not believe that's hyperbole. I thought it was a possibility at the middle of last week. I sat through all of it on Saturday, and that's my belief. It was the worst I have ever seen. I hadn't been there for all of them. And there are some emotional things that are involved for everybody. But to watch a program who you had your thumb on for the better part of a decade, that has never won anything in my lifetime, take over your stadium and do all that goofy stuff they do over there, and the strength coach that you let go, taking pictures on the eye of the tiger, and their coach in the interview room quipping that the home night record is 20-2 now instead of 20-1. All that put together was embarrassing for LSU's football program. And the people that have the money and the influence to change things decided it was time to do that. It was an embarrassment for LSU football. And the head coach is responsible for that. The fact of the matter is that this team that Brian Kelly put together with the funds that he needed, the coaching staff that Kelly put together with the funds he needed, is not very good. They went to Clemson, and we thought, man, what a defense. Clemson can't score. They played Florida. 5 turnovers. What a defense. Florida fired its coach 5 minutes later. This roster that you put together, this coaching staff that you put together, lost to Vanderbilt and got annihilated by Texas A&M in your home stadium. That will shake you to your core as an LSU Tiger. And so I wrote a column on Saturday night after the game, saying this is really bad. This team is officially a failure, and that means that changes are going to have to be made. We woke up on Sunday, and you felt like there was a reasonable chance that some real changes were going to be made on the offensive side of the football. That's just what Sunday felt like waking up. And then Sunday crosses our radar at LouisianaSports.net that changes are afoot. Maybe not just the offense. Maybe all the way up to the top. So there are discussions being had. We're monitoring things on our end with LouisianaSports.net. You understand that it's an interesting situation in terms of the hierarchy at LSU and in the state of Louisiana. There's not a university president. The athletic director has hired the coach and will now have to facilitate the spend to buy out that coach that's one of the biggest in the history of college football. That is a mark against the athletic director, no doubt. You've got a governor who appoints the board of supervisors who are looking to approve a president, and now you start to see that there is a power broker exchange that's going on and a lot of influence being tossed around. And ultimately, to me, when it becomes apparent that money is no longer an object, that makes the decision-making a little bit easier. Because it's very, very, very difficult for me to look on that field Saturday, to look on that field for what we've seen with this team that is so veteran, that we thought had so much talent, and to see it going backwards. It's very difficult to then look at that and go, well, this will get better. Just get rid of the entire offensive staff now and do what you did with the defense 2 years ago. Well, oh, by the way, the defense is getting gashed. Vanderbilt, up and down the field. A&M, up and down the field. Now, for me personally, I've watched LSU lose to better football teams over the years. I've seen Alabama come in there and shut LSU out. I've seen Tennessee a few years ago come in and just wear LSU out start to finish. But this is an A&M team while top 3 in the country, and I believe very good, like, they were in a dogfight with Arkansas last week. It was a 3-point game midway through the fourth quarter. It was a 3-point game at the end. They were in a dogfight with Auburn in College Station. Auburn's terrible. And they just ran you ragged. The fan base is checked out. Who knows what the reaction of the players is going to be? This is not a salvageable situation. And so the decision made, we got to move on. And that's what happens. So we've got a lot to talk about over the next 2 hours. I want to talk about money. I want to talk about why Kelly didn't work. I want to talk about where LSU goes from here, both with this team and with the program. There's a lot to get to. But ultimately, the level of embarrassment that LSU's program took on Saturday night was just too loud a cry that things had to change. And they did on Sunday. So we'll talk about it as we move forward. That's our Genesis opening drive. When we come back, why didn't it work out for Brian Kelly? Why didn't this ultimately reach its goal, the goal that LSU had stated and that Brian Kelly had stated? I wrote a column about it at LouisianaSports.net last night. I'm going to talk about it coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
So let's get back into it. Brian Kelly's time in Baton Rouge done after 3.5 years. And I wrote a column on LouisianaSports.net talking about why it did not work. And you're going to hear a lot of stuff from a lot of people, and that's fine. Like, it is what it is. I have my opinions. I'm confident that you've heard plenty on this station already. You'll hear some more later on today from Matt. This is my personal account of why things did not work with Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge. I believe it was not that he, and I use air quotes very, very hard here, used a fake accent to start. I think he slurred a word, but that's not as much fun for a national narrative, so faking an accent. I don't think it's because he's a Boston guy with Midwest roots. I don't believe it's because he played too much golf or went to the beach. I can't speak to those things directly. I'll tell you this. I've played a lot of golf in this city, and I know people that play golf almost every day, where Brian Kelly is a member. Almost every day. And I asked about it today. How often is he playing golf? And the answer I got back was only in the off season and not that much, is the answer I got. Now, T-Bob's tweeting 400 rounds, average score of 95. And look, I don't know who told him that, and maybe that person is right. I checked with somebody. I know a lot of people that play a lot of golf and are at that golf course a lot. Don't see Brian Kelly there very often. I don't know when he came into the office. I don't know when he left. I don't know if he went on vacation during the bye week. I don't know how many days he went on vacation last year. I don't know. So I'm not going to speculate on things that I don't know about. I'm going to talk about things that I know about. It's more fun to say, well, he played all this golf, or, well, he's on vacation the whole time. He wasn't trying. He wasn't putting in the work. He may not have been, but I don't know that. And I'm not going to sit here and just speculate because that's more fun to talk about. I'm going to talk about what I know about. Here's what I know about. Brian Kelly walked into LSU's football program, and he let some folks walk right out the door. Blake Baker walked right out the door, went to Missouri, ended up bringing him back because he felt like, that was a mistake. Corey Raymond, he let walk right out the door. He hired a high school coach from Missouri to handle DBU. It was a disaster. He had him come right back because it was a mistake. He hired Matt House to run his defense. It was a disaster. It was the worst defense we've ever seen. He decided to let Mike Denbrock walk and promote Joe Sloan. The offense went from the best in the country to the mid-40s, now in the 80s. It's getting worse. He fired Tommy Moffitt. Tommy Moffitt's there at Texas A&M, and things are going pretty well. Tommy Moffitt was good enough here for 3 national championship coaches. Wasn't good enough for the guy first to take the job and not win one since 1995. I believe the hires that Brian Kelly made, the decisions that he made, ultimately cost him his job. He tried to correct him. He wasn't stubborn about it. When they realized the defense was a disaster and it was expensive, he bought them all out. And he brought Corey Raymond back. And he brought Blake Baker back. caught a tough break when Bo Davis decided to go to the Saints. I don't think anybody saw that coming. But he hired 6 defensive line coaches in 4 years. Some of that was his fault. Some of it wasn't. It wasn't his fault Jimmy Lindsey got sick. It's not totally his fault that Bo Davis took the Saints job or that Jamar Cain left. But 6 defensive line coaches, not enough continuity there. The offense has gotten worse. This is a guy at Notre Dame that surrounded himself with great, great coordinators. He hired himself Clark Lee. Look what he's doing now in college football. He hired himself Mike Elko. Look what he's doing in college football. And it's irony that those 2 guys ended up costing him his job over the last 2 weeks. He had Bob Diaco, who became a head coach when he was at Notre Dame. Mike Denbrock's doing really well at Notre Dame. They score a lot of points. I mean, their loss to Notre Dame, to Texas A&M, wasn't because they couldn't score. At offensive line, where Brian Kelly created an NFL factory in college in Notre Dame, a factory of offensive line. They were great year after year after year on the offensive line. We said for 4 years, like, this is something that he's going to bring with him, great offensive line play. The offensive line play is terrible. They don't pass protect. Their run blocking is poor. They don't have anyone that can go out there and play tackle against good pass rushers. I don't have a great explanation for that, why he was good at it at Notre Dame and it was terrible at LSU. But I don't think it was because he played too much golf. The decisions that he made cost himself. When he said, we're not going to buy players, well, it's an area where you had to buy players. He pivoted from that. Said, okay, well, let's buy players. Here's $1 million of my money. Let's go do it. But it was too little too late. He realized, hey, let's go put together a front office. And he let Austin Thomas go out and bring people back to LSU to be the personnel department. He tried. That's effort. Didn't work. He's not perfect. Brian Kelly's not perfect. But I know these are the decisions that he made. And I know what the results of those decisions were that he made. And I believe those decisions and the results of those decisions are ultimately why this thing never worked. It looked like it was going to work. Man, that first year he turned it around. Turned out you got Jaden Daniels. That's the guy you had to have. It's the guy he never had at Notre Dame. Think about the quarterbacks that he won with in Notre Dame. Everett Golson. Tommy Reese. He got Jaden Daniels. He got the guy. But because he ran the competent coaches out of town on the defensive side of the ball and hired guys that were not able to handle the job, it failed with the stellar offense. And then by the time he course corrected on the defense, the offense slipped away. Part of that problem on defense early in his time was that he hired Brian Polian to help put the roster together. Brian Polian had spent one fall of his life south of the Mason-Dixon line. That's the guy that's running your recruiting. That's not going to work. And he fixed it. Frank was here, and he went and got a bunch of guys with Louisiana roots. Blake Baker's got Louisiana roots. Corey Raymond came back with Louisiana roots. Bo Davis, Kyle Williams. Joe Sloan's coached in Louisiana for a long time. He got that, but it was too late. The window in 2023 had closed. Even the scheduling didn't work out great. What if he had played last year's Florida State team instead of the Jordan Travis Florida State teams? That's not really his fault. And it's not a big reason why things fell apart. They beat Clemson this year. Couldn't beat Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. But to me, this is not about fit. It's not about where he's from. It's not about the beach or how many glasses of wine he had or how many bogeys on par fours he made. The decisions he had to make as the CEO of this football program to put people in place to do their jobs the right way were not the correct decisions. And that, to me, is why Brian Kelly did not work in Baton Rouge. Yeah, he's older than most first-time hires. And yeah, he got paid a lot of money, guaranteed. And it's easy to connect dots and suggest that maybe his fire didn't burn as bright as some younger coaches who haven't achieved what he has and haven't amassed the wealth that he has. Those are dots that are very reasonable to connect. But I'm not going to sit here and just speculate because that sounds juicier and more interesting. Let's just talk about the proof that's in the pudding. It wasn't good enough. And some of the images from Saturday night where he's on the headset saying, "What are we doing?" And he comes into press conference and says, "I didn't like our plan against Ole Miss." I mean, come on, man. You're responsible for that. That's your job to know what the plan is, to know what we're doing. You're on the headset. If you can tell Joe Sloan after a play call, why did we do that? Then before the play call, say, hey, we're not doing that. That has nothing to do with being on the golf course. It just wasn't, he didn't do what he had done at previous stops to sustain success. And in this era, it's not good enough to go out there and just go 9-3, go 8-4, score a big top 20 win here or there. This sport has now become a race to the 12. You have to be in the top 12. And if you can't reach the top 12, then you won't be there very long. That's not the case at Purdue. It's not the case at Cal or Boston College. It's not the case at Syracuse. It's not the case at Baylor. It's the case here in Baton Rouge. It's the case in Tuscaloosa and College Station and Ann Arbor, Michigan, and South Beach in Miami. If you've got funds and you've got resources and you've got a fan base that cares and any sort of history of success, you have to make the playoffs. He did not make the playoffs in year one, did not make the playoffs in year two when he had the Heisman Trophy winner, didn't make the playoffs in year three, put everything into year four, didn't make the playoffs. That's the end of the road. Brian Kelly and James Franklin were in the top 5 in the country in mid-September. Neither one of them had a job on Halloween. James Franklin won 2 playoff games last year against bad teams, but won 2 playoff games. That's the standard. And ultimately, as I said last week, it's going to come down to money. And from what you hear Saturday night, when the Aggies were whooping and swaying, there was a kitty being passed around. Ross Dellinger reported it. And that money came in fast and furious. That's the other piece to this thing. That's something I learned this weekend. It's a question I've had for years, since NIL came in vogue. What about the money? What about the money? Little old Louisiana. What about the money? Well, we have our answer. I want to talk about that side of this next. It's a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, if you moved into a house that was built around late 80s, early 90s, late 90s, that's about the time that some of those bath fixtures may start to fail. 25, 30, 35 years, you're looking at maybe a situation where some replacements have to be made. Call the professional that's been doing this for 3 decades, not the handy guy down the street you can slip and cash dump to. How about David Duvall, his 30 years of experience? He's licensed, bonded, insured, and he can help you with your bathroom renovation or remodel. New tub? Gotcha. New shower? Gotcha. Take the tub out, put in a shower? Gotcha. It's David Duvall in One Bath and Closets. Check out that website. Get that free consultation with David. That part doesn't cost you anything. He'll tell you what they can do to customize your bathroom space exactly to your specifications. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
My father, J.B. Falgout, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgout.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We will talk to Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime in our normal Monday segment at 2:30. Just get a snapshot of some other things that went on inside the country in college football. Also want to talk Saints at the top of hour number 2. We'll talk about the quarterback situation there with the black and gold. As it was real ugly in the Dome yesterday. But this is an hour that we're going to talk about LSU football here, and specifically Brian Kelly's situation and where LSU goes from here. But I wanted to spend some time on this aspect of things. Let me take you back 15 years ago. Like 15 years ago, this is what you would say about LSU football. You would say, look, you are in a talent-rich state where the recruiting ground is as fertile as anybody. You're the only show in town. You've got one of the iconic venues in all of American sports. You've got a passionate fan base. You've got money to pay coordinators. Like, this is one of the best jobs in all of college football to have. Right? That's what you would say. And a lot of that is still very true today. It's an incredibly fertile recruiting ground still. The fan base is still incredibly passionate. You've got one of the iconic venues in sports. But the biggest change in college football is where booster funds are channeled. And for a while there, we were in the Wild Wild West where you could just cut checks to every recruit for any reason, go. And I tell you all the time, when rules change happens, my first instinct and the first thing I'm going to think about is, okay, how does that affect LSU's ability to be competitive and to win a national championship? And my fear was, okay, this is Louisiana, our economy, not exactly the model in America. Can LSU keep up? Can LSU find the dollars and cents? You got big bad Texas A&M, all that Texas oil money. Can you compete with that? You've got bigger school, more alums, more money and success in the state of Georgia. Can you compete with them? What about the machine at Alabama? Can you compete with that? Then you got these Big Ten schools that are massive and have endowments that are 10x what LSU is. Can you compete with those teams when it comes to just spending money as fast as possible. Like, that was a legitimate concern. And here's the deal. There have been instances over the last 5 years since name, image, and likeness money started flying around where LSU has had to come up with a lot of money. Let's tell you what happened. Well, you wanted to fire Ed Ogeron, and his buyout was almost $20 million. Done. Okay, now it's time to hire a new coach. That can get expensive depending on who you're going to target. They went and hired Brian Kelly for $95 million. Boom, got it done. 2 years into that, while you're still paying Ed Ogeron's buyout, Brian Kelly says, we have to buy out the entire defensive staff. You had the money, did that. When you buy out a defensive staff, what do you have to do? You got to go hire a new defensive staff. Got that done. Went and money whipped Blake Baker out of Missouri and put his staff together. Money was no object. 2 years later, year and a half later, okay, we said we weren't in the business of buying players. We're not going to buy defensive linemen. Now, year and a half later, we got to buy players. Here's $1 million of my money. And oh, by the way, LSU found the money, got the number 1 transfer portal class in the country. And then the biggest kicker. It's time to fire Brian Kelly. This train's fallen off the tracks. We're embarrassed on national television. Well, that's going to cost a lot of money because there's still $50 million on his contract. He's got a staff. And then you're going to have to pay a new coach to coach if you tell Brian Kelly he can't coach. And LSU found the money in an hour and a half. That might be a little bit of hyperbole, but he was fired the next day. There was never an instance. Need to buy out O? Done. Need to get a new coach? $95 million. Got to buy out a defensive staff? Found it. Got to hire a new defensive staff? Done. Got to fire Kelly? Got to pay the players? This massive transfer portal haul? Done. Number 1 class. Now you got to buy out Kelly, $50 million? Done. And then you're going to hire a new coach for another $100 million, and that'll get done because they'll have somebody coaching the football team next fall. Money was never an object. Now, yes, LSU came up short on Bryce Underwood because of money. Here's the deal. You go up against Larry Ellison, you will lose that every time. So that's a little bit different circumstance. Based on what I Googled and AI'd today, he's one of the top 5 richest people in the world. So, yeah, not going to win that one. But when most things are equal and decisions have to be made, little old Louisiana and poor old LSU found the money every time. So here's now my take on this that I will continue to move forward on until I have new information. Again, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I would have said LSU's not going to be able to keep up if the name of the game is just spending a bunch of money because Louisiana probably didn't have that much money. I'm off that kick. There has not been one decision made, not one process that has been delayed because they don't have the money. Build a new football ops center? Done. I mean, the money is there. I don't know where it comes from. Ross Dellinger wrote a great piece detailing one booster who helped with the transfer portal class out in California. But I don't know the 10 people you got to go to get the checks. I don't know the 5 people you got to go to get the checks. I don't know the 15. I don't know how many there are. I don't know who they are. But they're there. Scott Woodward knows where they are. Brian Kelly knew where they were. And the fact of the matter is that every single time LSU has needed money, they have found it. So I'm not going to sit here and suggest that finances are some sort of impediment to LSU competing with Texas A&M, competing with Alabama, competing with Georgia, Ohio State. I'm not going to say that because there has not been an instance where that has proved itself to be true. Like in this circumstance where I'm changing my mind, I will reserve the right to change my mind again if something comes up. But as I sit here right now, and as I survey this situation right now, I don't know how I could come to any other conclusion but that there are enough people in this state, in this fan base with enough money to do whatever it is that it's time to do. I sat here as I spoke to a booster club in Thibodaux 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, before the Vanderbilt loss. And I got asked, is Kelly going to get fired this year? And I said, I don't think so. Because I don't think that LSU has $55 million to pay him, and then buy out his staff, and then pay another coach $100 million. That's a $150 million decision, and I don't know that LSU has that. I said that. It was 10 days ago. Changing my tune now. Changing my tune now. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they do. I don't know where their money is, but it's there. So it would appear to me to be an unsustainable path to continue to cut massive buyout checks and pay players year over year. But until there's some massive hiccup in this thing where LSU sinks to the depths of the SEC and can't field a roster other than 3-star high school kids that can't play, or keeps a coach that goes 4-8, I think LSU financially doing just fine. Just got to know what phone calls to make. And apparently, according to Ross Dellinger's piece, they walked around the suites for a few minutes on Saturday night, and that deal was done. So LSU moves on without Brian Kelly, and some people are going to be about $50 million lighter. We'll see what comes of the buyout. There are people reporting different things. I don't have any of that information handy in terms of some sort of negotiation or whether there's more money paid up front or what the offset language means in terms of what Brian Kelly's future holds. And maybe LSU doesn't owe Brian Kelly $50 million, and they knew that. But that information isn't at the ready for me, so my assumption is that they're going to pay him the whole thing like they paid Ogeron the whole thing. If they don't, then we'll talk about it. But right now, that's kind of where I sit. I want to talk about the game on Saturday, because this is still a football team that's going to play the rest of the season out, despite the lack of interest, I think, by a lot of people on what this final record actually is. But I want to talk what we saw on Saturday night and where LSU goes from here now with an offensive staff that's had some significant shakeups, the offensive coordinator, Joe Sloan, being fired. So let's close out the hour, a little bit of a longer segment than usual to close out the hour, but we'll talk about the game on Saturday, and then we'll talk about LSU's coaching staff moving forward for the next month during this season. It's the Monday edition Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. They are on Segan near Perkins. Just stop on in. You'll walk in. You'll see the reception area right there to the left. They got some great bar stools, great television set up, fridge stocked full of beer, seltzers, wine. You can hang out there and then go into one of your 3 bays. You have that golf simulator. You can turn it on Pebble Beach, turn it on the Island Green at TPC Sawgrass. Instead of a 5-hour round where you're waiting on every shot and spending a significant amount of cash, how about just playing 18 holes in the simulator in an hour and 20 minutes? You can do that by yourself. You can bring in a whole crew, turn on some football on TV. Just enjoy your time at Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. They're on Segan at Perkins, SwingEasyGCBR.com. Swing Easy Golf Club, SwingEasyGCBR.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
So that's 45 minutes on the Brian Kelly era in the state of LSU football's finances. They did play a game on Saturday that I'd like to talk about at least briefly. Actually, I should take that back. That's not a literal statement. I would not like to talk about it. I would like to never talk about it again. But unfortunately, I'm employed here to speak about things. Generally speaking, we need to talk about when LSU plays a football game. So we'll do a little bit of that here. In the first half, you caught some significant breaks and enforced some breaks as well. I mean, I'm not going to say, well, Texas A&M got a punt block. That's pathetic by them. Like, yeah, it's not great blocking, but you did, you went and made the play. So it was a nice job by LSU. I'll be candid with you. When the block happens pretty much right in front of me, that's the side of the stadium that the press box is in. I was really hoping that ball would settle in the end zone so LSU could recover it for a touchdown, but it didn't. It went through the back, and you got a safety there. You got a great execution of the call and a poor read by Marcel Reed with A.J. Halsey's interception in the end zone. And then Mansour Delane makes a really great play to zip the ball in the air and get that other interception. You picked him off twice in the first half. And with all of that, like, you were able to go into the locker room with an 18-14 lead. And I felt like, yeah, you're in it. Yeah, the crowd's in it, which is a huge, concern of mine. But I felt like A&M was the better team, even though LSU had the lead. LSU dominated the second quarter on the scoreboard, 11-0. But if you looked at the first half, like, A&M outgained LSU by about 70 yards. I thought that A&M ran it a little bit better than LSU, although LSU ran it well, and I thought A&M moved it really well through the pass. And then when LSU got into third downs, they were, again, terrible. They were 0 for 4 on third downs, which is Texas A&M's strength. But A&M went, I thought, up and down the field. You got 2 interceptions on your side of the field, and then you got the blocked punt to give you 2 points there. And what you saw then in the second half was just an absolute landslide, not unlike last year. And you've been outscored in the second half by this program, now 66-13 in the second half of the last 2 years. And once again, there was no semblance of an ability to stop Marcel Reed from running the football. They just could not stop him from running. He ran for a career high. It was the first drive. It was late in the game. It was on the negative side of the field, on the positive side of the field, in the red zone. I just don't quite understand how so frequently Marcel Reed can come across the line of scrimmage into nothing but vast space. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It feels like that should be something that is accounted for on every snap, but LSU was unable to do it. On the other side of the football, LSU, in my opinion, ran the ball great in the first half. You look at LSU in the first half, you ran for 68 yards, but you also gave up sack yardage that cut that down. If you look at it without the sack yardage, LSU ran for over 80 yards in the first half. You're on pace with your backs to run for 160 yards. Harlem Berry looked great. He's showing patience, making cuts, making reads, showing some burst, getting in the end zone, showing emotion when he got in the end zone. You had a guy that was ready to roll, and you quit giving him the football. You gave it to him once on the first drive, then I know A&M went and got a touchdown. Then you didn't give it to him on the second drive, and A&M got a touchdown. You didn't give him to him on the third drive, and A&M went and got a touchdown. He had one touch in the third quarter. And I know that the game got out of hand, and so you had to start throwing it late in the game. But if you're down 13 points in the middle of the third quarter, that's not time to just abandon the running game. It's what you do well. It keeps the pass rush from coming to get you. It keeps you in front of the sticks. It's scoring you touchdowns. And LSU just completely went away from it, which I do not understand. Special teams. Awful. Great job blocking a punt. That's good. I'm not going to blame the coach, the special teams coach, but I know he's getting a lot of heat today. I'm not going to blame him because you can't push Casey Concepcion out of bounds when your punter kicks it to the sideline and your coverage team is right there. Knock him out of bounds. I can't do it. I'm an out-of-shape 37-year-old. But these are scholarship football players. Casey Concepcion's a damn good player. Push him out of bounds. He's 3 inches from the sideline. Can't get it done. Missing an extra point. You gave up another long punt return. Kickoff return coverage wasn't great. Then, on your kickoff return, you're holding to put yourself back inside the 10 to start a drive. Awful in that phase. LSU's defense was terrible. The offensive strategy fell apart, and the special teams stunk. It was a terrible effort by LSU on Saturday against a team that is far more complete than you and marginally more talented than you. And to me, that's a reflection of what happened in that game. So what happens now? Well, Brian Kelly gone, Joe Sloan gone. We know what the plan is offensively. The plan offensively is to have Alex Atkins be the play caller. He was the offensive coordinator at Florida State for a couple of years. He did not call plays. Mike Norvell did, but he was the offensive coordinator. He'll call the plays. He'll work with the tight ends. Tim Rattay will work with the quarterbacks, as he did. Cortez Hankton remains in as co-offensive coordinator. He'll be in charge of the wide receivers. You'll have Corday Hankton, Cortez's younger brother, work with the running backs while Frank Wilson takes a head coaching role. He'll still work with the running backs some. And then Brad Davis is kept on as the offensive line coach. And I've heard a lot of folks that are cranky about that. And look, I understand. I told you in the first segment of the show that the offensive line play has not been good. It just hasn't. You're whiffing guys that you literally don't touch that are getting sacks on Nussmeier. It's not good. And you say, well, they fired Sloan. I get it. They do have to have some coaches out there. You can't just promote it. Well, you can, but promoting a bunch of analysts to run out in November is probably unwise and unfair to the kids. There's nothing to be lost moving forward. You're not going to the playoff. The coach is already gone. Like you can't hurt your program anymore over the course of the next month. So having coaches that are there, that know the system, that know what it takes to run a position group for one more month is not going to cause you significant damage. I would suggest ditching all the coaches and just having a bunch of analysts who are running around like chickens with their head cut off is just not fair to the kids. The season's done. It's a failure. It's a bust. It's over. You got to go play some more games, but we all know where things stand. So if you feel like you need to get a fresh play caller here, that's fine. Ditching everybody who's in charge of running practices and handling substitutions and all those things, I think it's fine. It's fine to leave them right where they are. And then you'll have a massive amount of turnover come in December and January with coaching staff and certainly with a number of players as well. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. That's the plan offensively. Defensively, nothing changes. You've still got your staff intact. Those guys have not had a group that's played very well the last 2 weeks. You couldn't force Vanderbilt to punt until the fourth quarter. Texas A&M scores dang near 50 points, 7 of which came from a punt return. But still, it's just a mess over there at LSU right now, and it's stunning how quickly this can happen. It was stunning how quickly it happened in Happy Valley. It's pretty stunning how quickly it happened in Baton Rouge. The beauty is, when I was kind of talking to some friends, if you're an LSU fan, like, it does inspire some hope. There's not a lot of hope in Tiger Stadium late Saturday night. Not a lot. Now, you got some. But you're jumping into a hiring pool with Penn State, with
Florida.
Florida's what I was looking for. I was literally looking at in my head at that part of the map, but I kept thinking Florida State, and I was like, they're not there yet. They're not there yet. And I was like, well, where am I going?
Give it a couple weeks.
I needed to go a little bit south to Gainesville, and you got me there. So, yeah, Florida and Penn State are in there. Potentially Florida State going to be in there. I think Auburn's got a good chance to be in there as well. You got reports that Steve Sarkisian's potentially looking at the NFL. They could be in it as well. There's a lot going on, but it does spark a little bit of hope in the LSU fan base as it's a new day here in Baton Rouge, and Frank Wilson will be in charge of running things for the month of November. That's a fast-moving hour number one, as we probably expected. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. Appreciate y'all for visiting LouisianaSports.net, where we've tried to keep you up to date as quickly as we could on the news that has broken over the last 24 hours or so. Reminder, you can go read all that stuff for free, and if you missed any of today's show, you can certainly go catch it on demand. Hunt on LSU is where you can find all of our LSU sound bites, all of our segments, so you can catch that wherever you find your podcasts or, of course, on YouTube. We'll step aside. We'll get some national headlines from SportsCenter. We've got to talk about the Saints. We'll get back to LSU, but we'll do the Saints coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. In the aftermath of the indictments of guard Terry Rozier and Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups as part of a federal investigation into gambling schemes involving sports betting and poker, the NBA sent a memo to all 30 teams that it's reassessing its position on legal sports gambling. Also said how it should be regulated is up for debate, what types of bets should be allowed, and the best ways to protect players from the risks gambling can impose on their careers and livelihoods. As speculation swirls regarding the head coaching openings at LSU and Florida, among others, Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin told the Pat McAfee Show today money will not impact his decision-making. The rumors, though, regarding Kiffin won't let up no matter what he says, explains Paul Feinbaum show host Paul Feinbaum.
He's a charismatic coach. He's colorful, and he's also an offensive genius, as we saw Saturday in Norman when Ole Miss beat Oklahoma in a mild upset. So will Kiffin leave is the question. His team has just about already stamped a playoff bid. That will be the question as we get closer to the end of the season.
NFL Rams bolstered their cornerback depth ahead of the November 4th trade deadline, acquired Roger McCreary from Tennessee.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the Packers sit at 5-1-1 and at the top of the NFC. But are they number one in my power rank? Find out at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Denton Day coming up in 30 minutes. This is the part of the show where we generally do my SEC picks against the spread. Jordan, do you have any idea how I did this week?
I mean, if it's going with the trend at the moment, it's not too well.
4-2.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, you should have let me know. I could have some hype music
After
going.
all that pessimism back on Friday, yeah, got some picks right. We're going to talk to Saints here, but I want to I'm not
do we really got to talk to Saints?
Yes, we do. I'm not going to do a full SEC segment today, but I covered with Ole Miss plus 5.5. I told you they'd win outright. They did. I did not cover Arkansas minus 3.5. I said that would be an easy cover. They got
I didn't
beat.
see that happening either.
Then I had South Carolina plus 11.5. That covered. I didn't get that line. I thought Bama should crush them. Of course they didn't. Vegas smarter than me, but I got it right. I did not cover with Missouri plus 3.5. Their quarterback got hurt, which was disappointing.
Yeah.
But I did cover with Texas minus 6.5. Probably shouldn't have, but they got to overtime and they won by 7, so you'll take that. And I did cover Tennessee minus 8.5. They destroyed Kentucky.
Destroyed them.
So yeah, that's a solid effort by me. 4-2 on the week.
You know, that's what I always say, man. There's always some light in the shadows.
Maybe I just make a legendary push in November here. That's what we're certainly hoping for.
You and LSU, we need it. So.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if the Saints are going to make a legendary push here in November either, but let's talk about them. Saints are losers by 20 against Tampa, and fittingly, I need to fight off a sneeze here, so let's see how that goes. All right, we're good. I was about to get into it, and I was like, this is gonna happen here. And what are you gonna do on live radio when it's a solo show? You're just gonna have to come clean and be like, I'm probably about to sneeze. All right, Saints lose 23-3 to the Bucs. It was probably even uglier than that. The game was uglier than the score. The Saints defense played pretty good football. They held Baker Mayfield, who's played great this year. They held him to 15 of 24 for 152 yards. They sacked him 3 times. They held Tampa to 88 yards rushing. They did not allow a run over 15 yards in the game. Like, the defense was pretty good, but the offense was clearly the worst it has been all year. Absolutely abysmal from start to finish. And unfortunately, like, that did include Tyler Shuck's performance. So let's start with Rattler, and then we'll get to Tampa. Rattler was indecisive, conservative, just did not look comfortable at all. He took 3 sacks in the game, a lot of checkdowns. So the completion percentage is high, 15 out of 21, but only for 136 yards. I'm not going to go nuts on the interception that he threw. That's a heck of a play by a Tampa defender to tip the ball up in the open field and then kind of baptize him all the way into the end zone. That was a really athletic play, a really good play. But Rattler didn't do anything to inspire any confidence. And so let's just continue on this timeline. 3 weeks ago, I said, yes, you stick with Rattler. He's getting better. Last week, I said, okay, that's a clunker. Going to happen. If it's a plateau, you look to make a move. If it's not, and it's a precipitous drop-off, like, we'll think about making a move. And in this game, at home, where your defense is playing well and your offense is just giving you absolutely nothing, I thought it was the right move to go to Tyler Shuck. I did. I said 3 weeks ago, don't make a change. Yesterday, I'm sitting on my couch watching. I'm going, make a change. And they went to Tyler Shuck, and it wasn't great. Throws a pick, misses a deep shot to Shaheed. 17 of 30, 128 yards. Offense didn't get moving, didn't create any points. It was disappointing that there wasn't a spark. I don't know if you could expect to have a spark from a quarterback who has not played in the NFL. He had the mop-up duty against Seattle. Then you're going into this spot where the offense is really stagnant against a good Bucs defense without your starting center. But the other piece to this is, while I say that Rattler played badly enough to get benched and Shuck didn't provide a spark, I tweeted this out yesterday, and this still rings very true in my head. How are you supposed to evaluate young quarterbacks if the veteran pass catchers you have on the outside cannot catch passes? Like, you've got Chris Olave getting the ball taken away from him. You've got Juwan Johnson with another just cold drop. These are the guys who are supposed to help these young quarterbacks, and they're hurting the young quarterbacks. The weapons on this Saints team just do not show up. And they abandon the running game. After a little bit of an attempt to run the ball early, they went 26 plays not giving the ball to Alvin Kamara. You get Taysom 2 snaps to run, but there's no ability to run the ball. 15 carries for 48 yards. Your pass catchers can't catch the ball. Like, if I tell you, okay, I'm going to put a young quarterback into a situation. Here's the situation. You've got your best player on offense, your center, is out. You've got a journeyman in there replacing him. You've got a rookie at one tackle, a second-year player at the other tackle. You got veteran pass catchers that can't catch the ball, and you don't even try to run the ball, and when you do, it's for no yards. 48 yards in the game. What young quarterback is going to jump into that situation and thrive? I don't know one. And that's the fear that I had when the Saints made this draft pick and you started looking at this season. I'm going, and I've said this a lot, and it's kind of a refrain at this point, but I've said it and I believe it. Like, most quarterbacks don't work out. Certainly most fifth-round picks don't work out. A lot of second-round picks don't work out. So the odds were always that neither Spencer Rattler nor Tyler Shuck become the guy for a decade. It's certainly possible, but it's unlikely. But it's also unlikely for those guys to elevate their level of play when the supporting cast around them is playing so poorly. I can't evaluate Kellen Moore in this situation. He had a really good team last year, and he helped win the Super Bowl. He had really good personnel in Dallas, and they scored a lot of points. I don't know if he's doing a good job or a bad job with this team. There's not enough talent. And that's what it looked like on the field yesterday. It was just a dismal showing. And at this point, I would suggest that the New Orleans Saints are the worst offense in the NFL and maybe the worst team in the NFL. Like, it helps with that case that the Jets won. And I'm not here to suggest that some of the teams at the very bottom of the NFL standings are significantly better than the Saints. There are plenty of bad teams. The Jets are 1-7. Cleveland's 2-6. Tennessee's a joke. They're 1-7. But I can't look at anybody in the NFC and suggest that they're worse than the Saints. Your only effort there would be the Giants, because the Saints beat them and they're 2-6, but the Giants played tough yesterday. The Saints just got annihilated on their home field. It's just a bad spot to try to evaluate quarterback play. So what do you do moving forward? Well, for me, I look at the schedule, and I think that matters. And I see a trip to go play the Rams coming up this week, and I just don't think that's a good spot for Tyler Shuck. Rattler has seen pressure before. He's a little bit more athletic than Shuck. He's got more experience. I would play him again in this game. Maybe you make the switch, go into Carolina. The bye week is after that. I'm not in a hurry to go to Shuck right now at LA against that front with no center and bad wide receivers. I'm not ready to do that. Kellen Moore met with the media today. He said they haven't made a decision yet. But ultimately, I look at what I saw in the Dome yesterday, and it didn't make me think, man, these quarterbacks stink, although they didn't play well. It made me think, man, the ecosystem the Saints have put around them is awful, and it's getting worse. And the Saints are playing worse. That was a bad effort against Tampa. And so now you sit there at 1-7, and you got 2 road games coming up. It's bleak over on Airline Drive. That's a look at New Orleans Saints here on this Monday. Jordan, would you like to opine on the black and gold? You're proudly wearing the hat today. How proud are you wearing that hat?
I'm proud because, it's New Orleans, so I just, regardless.
I like that.
It hurts my heart because regardless of Shucks out there, Rattler's out there, you're giving them charcoal and you're telling them turn it into wine. So it's like you're giving these guys, you're giving them nothing to work with. I mean, Olave and Shaheed, they should be ashamed. They should be ashamed at this point. Because
Juwan Johnson just got a contract extension, which was stupid when they signed it, and it still looks stupid.
Exactly. Like, I know they're not professionals. They're in college, but I'll take Tre'Davious Green right now over Juwan Johnson right now, and I think it would improve the team right now. I think it will greatly improve the team. But it's like, regardless of the fact, you got to see what you got in Shuck. I agree with you on the spot we're in because the Rams front is ferocious. They are, and they're gonna come off the ball. So that is.
I just don't think that's a good spot.
Yeah, it's not. It's a bad spot. It's a bad spot, but. I've seen enough of Rattler, and that's not even to say, but it's like that intercept.
September was fine. October was bad.
And again, you use the top 40 pick on Shuck, so it's like it's the time now. We got to see, but just focus on the mock drafts. That's all we can. That's all we can do right now. It's mock draft.
Draft seation.
Yes.
Mock draft and coaching hot boards.
Yes.
This is South Louisiana football. Put it on a bumper sticker. We're going to talk to Denton Day coming up here in 15 minutes. The next segment I'm going to do here, I don't think is going to be super popular. But I'm going to try to understand the booing. And we'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. So go check out the inventory. Every single model in this line is an IIHS top safety pick. Every model. So if you get behind the wheel of a Genesis, you're getting behind the wheel of one of the safest cars on the road. Plus, they're stylish, sleek, comfortable, all the bells and whistles you're looking for, and the brand ambassadors at Genesis of Baton Rouge are happy to help you to go through the entire line. Most of you driving around have never been behind the wheel of a Genesis. Most of you. But you can make a change. Go see them. And if you don't have time to go see them, then they'll come to you. They'll come to your work for a test drive. They'll come to your house for a test drive so that you can see that Genesis difference. Every single purchase comes with America's best warranty. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find that entire inventory online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to Dream.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, this segment is probably not going to be super popular. I'm going to be in the minority on this one, and that's okay. Like, this is not a segment that suggests that I'm right and other people are wrong. That's not where this is rooted in. This segment is in Hunt is not sure he understands. I'm not sure I understand. So I'm going to try to talk through this and see if I can communicate that properly. Inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday night, I mentioned at the top of the show, that was the most embarrassing night of my Tiger Stadium existence. To watch Texas A&M come in and take the stadium over is appalling to me. Appalling. And so in the midst of all that, and what I knew was very possible, I wrote this last week that LSU needed to get off to a good start because I thought the stadium could turn. And LSU actually got off to a good start, and the stadium just turned in the second half. So I saw this coming. I'm not surprised by it. I literally wrote it on LouisianaSports.net and talked about it on the show. But there were a significant amount of boos on Saturday night. And once again, let me preface, I'm not telling you you cannot boo. That's offensive. Like, don't do that. I'm not shaking my finger at anybody. I'm saying, Hunt, I'm just not sure I understand the booing. You got a quarterback out there who chose to come to LSU, who sat behind multiple quarterbacks, waited his turn, did not transfer, threw for 4,000 yards last year, came back when he had an opportunity to go pro, played through an injury all of September, getting absolutely pummeled weekly by an offensive line that does not block. And I've got significant boos in Tiger Stadium. Now, keep in mind, some of that's coming from the student section. I am out in front of this, expecting drunk 19-year-olds to make quality decisions is your fault. Like, there are some people who say, I can't believe they chant that every week. Guess what? They're hammered and they're 19. They're going to make terrible decisions. I've been hammered and 19 and made terrible decisions. It's just part of life. You're never going to stop 10,000 drunk 20-year-olds from thinking yelling that is funny. I don't think it's funny. I think it's stupid. I thought it was funny in the bar when we did it in 2011. I don't think it's funny to take it and apply it to every song the band plays for 3 hours. But they do. They're never going to stop. So I'm not expecting those people to make good decisions. But they're booing. And I feel like there's some booing coming from elsewhere toward the quarterback. And I don't understand that. Because it's not that you have to agree with me about all those things. It's that I don't understand what the point is. Or is the point to make sure the quarterback knows that you don't think he's playing good enough? Is the point that you want the coach to know that you don't think he's playing well enough so he'll make a change? Is the point that you're just booing the head coach so he knows? Like, is the point of the booing to make sure that the players and the coaches know you're not happy? Do you think, and then do you think that that's going to make them play harder or coach better? Or is it to make sure that the administration knows you're not happy so that they make a change? Is it that, well, the players get paid now, so I paid for my seat, I have the right to do it? Like, I don't get what the point of the boos is. My thing is, like, if I'm going to be a fan at a game, which I don't get to do very much anymore, like, I would want to support the team. Like, show the team that I am behind them. Even if things aren't going great, I would want to support them. One of the greatest moments in my Tiger Stadium history that I've ever been a part of was the 2003 Georgia game. And a lot of people will know where I'm going with this. Some people will have forgotten or weren't around. But LSU was in an absolute dogfight with Georgia. Georgia was coming off an SEC championship. Mark Richt had that thing humming early on. It was David Green and that David Pollock team. They were very good. And LSU hung in there with them. Took some missed field goals early, but LSU, was fighting, and they took the lead. And they were leading in the fourth quarter, and Georgia threw a 90-yard screen pass touchdown to Tyson Browning, which was just absolutely gutting because you had played Georgia off their feet and were great on defense all day, and then you gave up the lead and they tied the game. And in that moment, the most deflating moments you could have, a 90-yard touchdown to tie the game, the whole crowd started chanting, LSU, 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 in support, in a bad time, in support. And then Devery Henderson runs the kickoff back to midfield. Mock hits Skylar Green. LSU wins the game, goes on to win the national championship. It was the day that LSU, to me, announced itself among college football's elites. And that is such a wonderful moment in that stadium. And I understand that it could not have been a more different circumstance on Saturday night. And I don't expect those two circumstances to be the same. That's Nick Saban on the rise, has won the SEC for the first time in 15 years. You're 2 years removed from that. You're in the top 5. Everybody's excited. Everybody's feeling really good about the coach. And that is when you get that moment. And in this moment, you've just lost to Vanderbilt. The wheels are coming off. Everybody's unhappy with the offense, and you're getting your butt kicked. I don't expect the entire crowd to stay and be amazing. Like that's not what I'm saying. I just am disappointed, I guess, sometimes when you get the home crowd kind of turning on its own team. And again, I understand that not all those boos are directed at Nussmeier, and some of those boos are directed at Brian Kelly, and some are directed at Joe Sloan. But I wonder when you're booing, if it's just like what you feel like you're accomplishing in doing that. I don't know. And finally, to like put a bow on it for those that are just jumping in at the end of this and missed the beginning of it, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like, I'm not saying you can't do that. I just don't get it. And it's just never something that I'm going to do. I think that the fans of Philly who take pride in being dirtbags, I think that's weird. And I was disappointed inside Tiger Stadium, and it was as bad a night as I can remember in that stadium. And I think there are probably a lot of people who suggest, hey, I went, I booed, I left early. That showed the displeasure that I have with this program, and things got changed the next day. And that's a feeling. I don't know that the boos had anything to do with it. And I think if the crowd stayed full for the entire game and you still lost 50-25, 49-25, whatever the case may be, that things still happen the next day. But booing college players, to me, is tough because they choose to play here. And unless you see a gross lack of effort, I'm just not going to go there. Just my 2 cents on it. I don't get to boo or cheer. I sit in the press box, which is not my favorite thing, but that's okay. It beats the heck out of digging ditches. I just didn't quite get it. So I get, let's see, I'm looking in the Value Ford chat. Not not a lot of support. As I said, to lead the segment off, I said people are not going to like this. And I completely understand the people that didn't want to watch that anymore. I didn't want to watch it anymore. But I just felt the need to say that because what we saw in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night doesn't happen very often. And I love to cheer it and applaud it. And look, the fans showed up. I was nervous on Thursday and Friday of the week, and even Saturday morning when it was raining cats and dogs, that like no one was even going to come. Tiger fans showed up. There were a lot of people in that stadium, and it was loud when LSU was rolling. It just didn't happen. And there's the comment in the Bayou Ford chat. They're getting paid now so they can get booed and cheered. I don't know that a paycheck. I didn't say they can't be booed. It's not what I'm saying. I don't understand what you're accomplishing by booing it. You're telling them that they need to play better? Is that you feel like, oh, the home crowd's booing me, I better try harder? I have a hard time connecting those two things. I would try harder personally, me, if the home crowd was cheering me on when things weren't going right. If they're booing me, that's be like, well, this sucks. Professional athletes. So that's just it's a difference of opinion on the situation. That's where we are, I think. I only boo the refs and umps. I'm good with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. I want them to know that they're doing a bad job because that happens all the time. But I wanted to get that off my chest here on this Monday. We got a lot to talk about moving forward this week about who the next coach is going to be and all that, and we'll certainly do that as we move forward. But that's just a segment I wanted to dive into. When we come back, Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime. We'll talk LSU and Brian Kelly. We'll also talk some national storylines as well. Let's do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carpenter's team, phenomenal folks to work with because they're experts. If you are a business owner or you're a CFO, risk manager, you're in charge of the insurance program, then look at Highland Insurance Group as the next realistic option. If you're got a renewal coming up 1/1 and you're feeling like that premium may be going up or you're not thrilled with some of the things that has happened over the last year, you're looking for a second option, let the Highland Insurance Group audit your program and put together a package for you. They're an independent broker. They've got contracts with dozens of carriers, and they know where to put your business. They've got clients in all the verticals across the board, and they'll be able to make your fit the right one. Certainly, a consideration will be made to your premium, but the coverage will always come first at the Highland Insurance Group to make sure your business is protected. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Find them online, HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Salty bunch in the Bite Ford chat today. I figured with the coach firing that everybody would be kind of in a chipper, hopeful mood as you kind of move into the future. Don't have to worry about that hanging over your head. But everybody very, very, very salty, very unhappy with me, which is fine. I knew that segment was not going to go over well. But again, I'm just here to speak the way that I feel. And everyone has the right to completely disagree with that and often do. And that's okay as well. Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime. Maybe he agrees with me on some things. We'll have to talk about it. Joins us on the Gems Firearms Hotline. Denton, how we doing?
Well, I think I'm a little bit better than some in your area, maybe less better than others. What did you get everyone all mad about? What has everyone in a tizzy?
I think everyone's just cranky in general, but my take in the last segment was not that you cannot boo. It's that I don't understand the booing of your own team and your own players and your own coaches. I don't know what you're hoping to achieve. If it's just that, hey, I want them to know that I'm unhappy with them, like I guess, but I would rather like encourage them. But that's just me. It's a college mindset, I think. But they all think you just have to boo everyone, and that's the way it's got to be. And so that's okay if they feel that way. How do you feel about it?
I feel like silence is way more deafening than booing. Yeah, the worst thing you can do is be quiet in your own home environment, right? The players realize, they'll look around and be like, wow, it is not as noisy as it normally is. What's going on? We should probably play better to create some noise. I feel like that's a much better way of going about things than booing.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of silence in Tiger Stadium when the A&M fans sat down in the second half as well. What was your reaction to the Brian Kelly news yesterday?
Not stunning. You know, after the James Franklin thing, I have pretty much opened my mind up to anything is possible at this point, and nobody is safe. All these dollar values that we see get posted with buyouts and contract numbers, that's all make-believe. they are going to find money. Good programs will find money, which means nobody is unfireable. It was crazy to see really what he was on Saturday, and that was a zombie. Now, he did like the classic Brian Kelly things where he was yelling at Joe Sloan on camera to make sure that we all knew it was Joe Sloan's fault and not his fault. I mean, he's really good at dodging raindrops, apparently. He likes to hang out on a beach, as I've learned over the past couple of hours when he should be recruiting, and he's also really good at dodging accountability. So, I mean, more power to him, but this had to happen. You were not ever going to get better from this point, I don't think. I thought the only way further was down, and you might as well stop it before it gets too low.
As far as attractiveness of the LSU job relative to Florida, relative to Penn State, maybe relative to Auburn, moving forward as well, Florida State, what do you think?
It's way better. I mean, there's only one job that I would say definitively I would say is better than LSU, and that's Ohio State. I think the conversation with every other job is that LSU has a fighting chance. I think it's at least the second best job in the nation. So with that being said, it's way better than everything that is currently open because you have living proof that if you are not an idiot and you respect the job and you're not an a-hole, you can win a championship. Brian Kelly did not do all of those things. In fact, he reverse checks the box of some of those things, and that's kind of why we're sitting at the spot that we are. But if Les Miles and Ed Ogeron can win a championship, I think there's an avenue for a lot of really good coaches to do the same.
What'd you learn about Texas A&M on Saturday?
I think Marcel Reed's actually pretty good. I think Texas A&M is actually pretty good. I still don't think they're in the class of Ohio State and oddly, Indiana, but it's a really good football team. Marcel Reed's going to be hit and miss like he kind of was at parts on Saturday, but they have enough around him to really elevate when he is missing. And I thought that was the biggest takeaway from the game itself. It was less about the Brian Kelly. Sunday was about Brian Kelly. But Saturday itself to me was, this Texas A&M team just went in to a badass environment and pretty much shut up the crowd at LSU, and that was really impressive.
Nothing pretty much about it, Denton. I've been on the record about this. That was the worst Tiger Stadium night of my life.
I was stunned. I'm sitting in my living room, right, watching that game. Now, I did a morning show on Saturday with, a schedule change, so I just got to sit there and enjoy it and not take vigorous notes the entire time. And when they were coming back from a break in the second half, and the Texas A&M fans were dancing, doing the little cult-like dance with all that beige that they wear, and they're dancing, and everyone else in LSU at the stadium is sitting. I was like, this is a different atmosphere than what we are accustomed to. And at that point, I pretty much understood. All right, Brian Kelly, if he survives this week, it'll be miraculous, but he's not surviving all that much longer.
So let me go big picture here on the Southeastern Conference. We have seen Vanderbilt beat LSU, Arkansas play LSU close, South Carolina play Bama close. We see Kentucky play Texas close, and Florida beat Texas. And the amount of parity is just remarkable at this point. What do you attribute that to? There used to be a time where there were 3 or 4 teams that were way better than everybody else. There were 4 or 5 teams that were terrible. And now it's just like every week you see a lot of really close games between good teams, bad teams, and everybody in between.
Yeah, so there's definitely not a juggernaut, which I think, we've been so accustomed to seeing that, because not only was it just top-heavy teams, but you had just massive, juggernauts. Alabama, Georgia, at times LSU, for a weird year every now and then. Auburn was in that conversation. If you go all the way back, Florida was in that conversation. I think there is one, because everybody has money now, that kind of makes it a little bit easier, but that's also kind of silly because everyone always had money in the SEC, and they always, whether they want to admit it or not, were using that money. I think really what it comes down to is there are a bunch of really, really good coaches all across the board, and as money has started to come in, guys have gotten really good at developing. And I think this is the first year, certainly way better than last year, but this is the first year in a while where it does feel like there's a lot of good quarterbacks. Not great quarterbacks, so to speak, not absolute must-watch television, but there are a lot of good quarterbacks. Lenore Sellers hasn't had a great season, but he played really well against Alabama. It was the best game I thought of his season so far to this point. And I think when you have instances like that where a guy might not be putting together the greatest season in the world, but on the drop of a dime can play really well, that's why you get some of these close games.
Trinidad Chambliss, one of those guys who's played pretty well. Ole Miss beats Oklahoma 34-26. They moved to 7-1 and are, to me, almost a lock for the college football playoff based on the schedule. What about that one in Norman?
That was Trinidad Chambliss can do it. He can win a big one when necessary. He's a great example of what I was talking about, to where for him it's like quarters almost, where there are quarters where he's just missing, and he is not the most accurate guy that you have ever seen in the world. In fact, Ole Miss rather should have scored a lot more than what they did if he would just complete what you would normally call is relatively easy passes for a college quarterback. So you did see a little bit of, that's right, he played D2 last year in him, but he's a gamer. And I think this has been Lane Kiffin's best season coaching-wise. Picked a really good year to have that best season coaching-wise. He is going to be one rich SOB by the end of this one. But I think that's a really good team, and defensively I think they did a really good job against John Mateer, a guy that looked like he was a Heisman frontrunner, 6 weeks ago pre-injury. He looks like a completely different quarterback in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, he was inaccurate in the fourth quarter, and that really cost Oklahoma in a couple of crucial spots. Let's talk about Georgia Tech. They beat Syracuse 41-16. They are 8-0, 5-0 in ACC play. How good is Georgia Tech?
They're good. They play a physical brand of football that I think certain teams in the ACC are not really accustomed to, and they can hit you from a bunch of different angles. But Haynes King is the real deal. He's a really fun quarterback to watch, and he plays hard. He is a gritty football player, and I think that's kind of what that program is. They're very similar, I feel like, in a lot of ways to Vanderbilt. One, because the colors are similar, two, because they have had years where they were the bottom of their respective conference, and now they're elevating towards the top. But they have a way of playing that is not the sexiest in the world, but they do what they do really, really well. And I think Brent Key's done a hell of a job. And you look at the rest of their schedule, and it feels like that they are. I mean, if they get to the ACC championship unbeaten, they're going to the college football playoff. But they've been a really good team to watch.
Kind of the same type of deal. Good coach, physical team that generally hasn't won a lot. That's Vanderbilt. They beat Missouri 17-10. Now you look at their schedule. They've only got one loss. They have a trip to Austin coming up. They've got a trip to Knoxville at the end of the season, but Auburn and Kentucky between those two. How do you feel about Vanderbilt's playoff chances?
I feel really good about them. I mean, who knows? Maybe Sark is on the plane back with them to Nashville by the time that one's over with when they play Texas. I think it's going to be really cool to have the potential and what I'm expecting to be a playoff game effectively for Vanderbilt and Tennessee at the end of this season. Circle it. Say, hey, the winner of this one is going to get in, and the loser of this one might not be getting into the college football playoff. That really adds another element to that football game. I think it kind of throws into the face of those that said the expanded playoff would kill a lot of meaningful games. I think in a sense it's actually added to it because of that. I think Diego Pavia is a fun quarterback to watch. He wants the Heisman Trophy. I like that he wants the Heisman Trophy. I think everybody should want the Heisman Trophy. Does he have good enough numbers to earn the Heisman Trophy? Not a chance. But I like the fact that he's brash about it. I want guys to want the most prestigious trophy in all of American sports. That narrative is certainly there for them, but Clark Lee does a really good job, and they could have easily folded with the amount of attention that they got this weekend, and they didn't, and that was really impressive, even if Bo Pribolo was out for a majority of the second half of that game.
Not the most attractive slate coming up this weekend. Vanderbilt, Texas, probably the headliner. We thought the headliner would be Penn State, Ohio State, and now that's really not. What are your thoughts on the slate coming up this weekend?
Yeah, not nearly as sexy as we were hoping, but everyone should be bracing yourselves because we kind of know the deal, right? When you look at a slate, especially this late in the season, where you think, oh, this week kind of sucks, that's where the madness happens. I don't know where that madness is going to come from. I am not by any way, shape, or form suggesting that Penn State is going to do the unthinkable and beat Ohio State. They are not. I will not believe anyone can until I see someone score more than 17 against Ohio State. But I do think we might see an upset or two that kind of justify the relatively weaker slate this weekend.
If South Carolina loses this week to Ole Miss, they're not going to go to College Station and win. They may not beat Clemson. And then you've got the Virginia Tech opening and Shane Beamer's being mentioned there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think Shane Beamer's future is in Columbia?
There might be a very polite handshake agreement of like, hey, go take that job. It's not working here. We're going to make a change. Go take that job. But at this point, Hunt, I would very much caution teams across the country who have not fired their coach at the moment, maybe chill out a little bit. because there are a lot of openings now, and there are a lot of really big openings, and you're not going to out-sexy LSU, Florida, or Penn State. So who is out there that you are just head over heels that you think you're going to land that isn't going to land at one of those operations? I know there's still going to be teams that pull the trigger. I have a good feeling that Florida State is going to be one of them. That statement they put out 2 weeks ago read more to me as like, we just don't have the money now. It needs a couple business months to transfer, and then once we get it, we will make that decision and pull the trigger on Mike Norvell. But I just don't know. Like, you immediately, at the very best, you're second in line behind LSU being first, but like Florida State is behind, I would say, certainly Florida and Penn State. And if I'm South Carolina, you're way behind all of those teams. So I know the season hasn't been as you hoped, but I don't know that there are a whole lot of, much better options, because it also feels like there's not a lot of really sexy coordinators or young coaches that are available at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Now, we've got probably a month before it really heats up. Generally speaking, that week after Thanksgiving can be a little wild, but with the playoff now, maybe not quite that early. We'll see. We'll talk to you next week, Denton. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it as always.
Denton Day, Sirius XM's College Football Overtime host, with us every single Monday. We'll step aside, come back, and close it out. Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Just go by and see the showroom. It is such an amazing facility. I've been in a lot of car dealerships in my day, especially in my time in the insurance business, and this is the finest I've been in. It feels like you're walking into a spa as opposed to a showroom. They've got incredible ambiance. They've got partitioned areas where you can get some work done if you're getting your car serviced and would like to do that. They've got an incredible coffee machine, great snack setup as well, complimentary. The people are first class. They've got the rock waterfall there that just sets a nice mood. And they got a great line of vehicles, which is probably more important. But I like the facility, so I'll tell you about it. Go by and see them. Airline at PQ. Get behind the wheel of one of those Genesis. I like the GV80. It's their midsize SUV. That's best for me and my family's lifestyle currently. That's the case for you. Get on by and see them. If you're in a little bit of a different place, you can check out their sedans as well. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. That is the Genesis model. You can find them airline at PQ or online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping things up here on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. It's been a fast-moving one. If you missed the opening monologue, I spent the first 45 minutes of the show today really talking about the Brian Kelly era, the decision that came down on Sunday, all of that big picture stuff. I spent the last 15 minutes of the hour talking about the actual game on Saturday night. Did a little bit of Saints. You can catch that at Hunt on Saints. But you can catch all the stuff about Brian Kelly and the football program at Hunt on LSU. It'll be up on YouTube and certainly wherever you find your podcast. So go ahead and check that out if you're just tuning in, just hopping off work, just getting in the carpool line, whatever the case may be. Appreciate y'all for listening. If you missed it, you can find all of it on demand. One more order of business. It's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. I had Flight by Yingling last night after a long day of dealing with the Brian Kelly story and ultimately the news that broke. It was delicious, and I invite you to have a Flight by Yingling as well. It has got all the flavors you're looking for from a beer, and then all the great assets of a light beer that's 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Flight by Yingling, it is the next generation of light beer.
All right, let's kick this bad boy off with the 0-2 New Orleans Pelicans versus the 0-3 Boston Celtics tonight in the blender. Will the Pelicans finally get their first W of the season? Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
I think absolutely that the Pels will win. Great team, amazing team. Actually, not a great team. They're 0-2. But the Celtics, I'm a little surprised. They've come out of the gate so slowly. It's a different team.
I am surprised they are 0-3, but no Tatum.
Different team with no Tatum.
I feel like they're punting on the year, but
yep, a little bit.
So
it's a loaded draft class.
It's a loaded draft class, and you don't have a first-round pick, so you kind of need to win this game desperately tonight. So matter of fact, let me do this one more time.
I'll take
it. Again.
There you go.
Okay, so fired Power 4 football coach is the best job in America. Take it or leave it.
It's a good one. Take it.
I'll take it.
That's a good gig. If you can get that job and get those buyouts. I am curious.
Yes.
If 10 years from now, we're going to look back and go, do y'all remember that 15-year period where everybody was getting like 13, 18, $50 million to go away?
Yeah.
And maybe that the athletic directors changed course and stopped.
I think they need
to stopped making those contracts look like that. It would take it would take all the athletic directors teaming up and making that the standard, because if you think it's the leg up you need to get the coach you think is going to be great, and that's what you'll do. But the agents have whipped these athletic directors into these unbelievable deals, and the contracts are so big and they can be done so fast. If you don't make the playoffs in 3 years, you're out of there, and you probably got a 7-year deal, or in this case a 10-year deal, and then all of a sudden the numbers just get out of hand. I don't know if that's going to continue. I'm curious to see what the language of the contracts for all three of these big hires with Penn State, Florida, and LSU are going to look like.
Now that you say that, I think these three jobs, well, probably be some more that open up, but definitely these three jobs are going to be like that first domino that might fall in the right direction or the wrong direction. But if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Scott Woodard the one that signed Jimbo to that crazy contract?
He was the one that signed Jimbo to a big contract. He did not give the extension that ultimately led to buyout. Ross Bjork was responsible for that. Now, it's common for people to link the two together, and they're not exclusive. Like, Woodward did throw a huge contract to Jimbo, but that extension came from Ross Bjork.
Okay. Ooh, this is the one I really want your answer on, even though you kind of alluded to this. Well, can LSU win out and win 9 games this season? Take it or leave it.
Just leave it alone.
They'll beat Western Kentucky. I struggle with the other ones. I don't think they're going to Tuscaloosa and winning, obviously, although that line is remarkably short to me. 5.5, 5.5 is such a short line.
You remember, though, Hunt, when Rizzy, the interim coach boost? The interim coach boost? You never know.
Arkansas scores a lot of points.
And we don't score much.
Just feels like that's a tall ask for LSU. And then Oklahoma's not playing great. So, we'll see what's going on in Norman by then. I mean, that job could come open. Yeah. If Oklahoma face plants over the rest of this schedule, that job could come open. Let me see what Oklahoma has left on their schedule, because now you're looking at an Oklahoma team that's 6-2, which is not terrible.
Not bad. But
their next two are at Tennessee, at Alabama. And then you play Missouri at home. Now, Privula may not be there, but if they lose those three, that would be 4 in a row. And you're talking about a team that would be 6-5.
And desperate.
That could be, they could fire their coach. Yeah. I mean, so Oklahoma could come up. But now that may not. They could win those games. So we'll see. But I don't think LSU's going to go there and win right now. I don't think so. I think they're not losing out. Western Kentucky will make sure of that. But it's not going to be pretty, I don't think.
Okay, well, that's all for take it or leave it. Damn, hon, I really wish you would have been like, we would have won out. Really wish you would have won out.
No, I don't think so. That's just not where my head is at this point currently. So that's a show. There's a show. That's a Seinfeld reference for those of you out there that don't get it. Fast moving. So if you missed any, but catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt on LSU, Hunt on Saints. We always appreciate y'all. And check it out on LouisianaSports.net. We got a lot of content up there. Had the story of LSU firing Brian Kelly. There's a column of mine on why things went wrong. There's a look at how the staff looks moving forward. We also have Ross Jackson Saints content with the column about what they should do at the quarterback spot. So it's free. Know that a lot of y'all are heading that direction. We really appreciate it. But go check out our stuff at LouisianaSports.net. I am done. We'll talk about who LSU should hire on tomorrow's show. I'm looking forward to that. Next, Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. He's got a little bit to talk about, so he will do that. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place for a Tuesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personal